It's time. Top three songs from Grunge legends, Alice in Chains. So we're going to start with their 1990 release, Facelift. And I remember the place I saw Alice in Chains first was on MTV, back when they played videos, and it was Man in the Box. And yeah, the video is in this kind of orange reddish hue, if I'm remembering correctly, which I think is a theme in some of the Alice in Chains work throughout. You'll see it on the Dirt record. And I just remember the guy that doesn't have eyes, and I think he's got X's for scars on his eyes. Creepy, but the song was just awesome from the moment I heard it, from the groove and the work. Jerry Cantrell using that talk box on his guitar. Just had one of those songs that made you want to bounce your head. I just love the chunk and the grit to it. It's one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs. It's going to be probably my song number 2 for me all these years later. It hasn't really dropped, but yeah, I love it. And Jerry Cantrell was just in the pocket with his guitar solos on here on this song. It just feels like it fit perfectly, and you're gonna kind of hear that as a theme throughout here. The next song I'm going to go with is track number 4, Bleed the Freak. And for me, I must have also been listening to AC/DC's Fly on the Wall record. And so when I would make playlists on cassettes back in the day, I often had Bleed the Freak and Sink the Pink by AC/DC on the playlist. I like the edge to Lane singing on this one, and yeah, just a good groovy rocker of a song. And then the third song for me is going to be We Die Young. I could have gone with Sea of Sorrow. I dig that one too, but I'm going to go We Die Young. I saw Seven Dust. It's probably early 2000s, and they used to have in their concert. So this is on the Animosity tour. They'd have in their concert, and Clint Lowry would take vocals and do like a tribute to bands. And so he did a medley. He had a Pantera song, I think it was Walk, and then he also did We Die Young. I don't remember the third or fourth songs that he did, but he did We Die Young by Alice in Chains. And yeah, really, I like the vocal work by Lane and Jerry on here. And then the riffing from Cantrell's good. It's a hooky, energetic song, and the solo I think fits really well, which it just, it's quintessential Alice in Chains. And so the next record we're gonna go is 1992's Dirt, and this is the first album I had from Alice in Chains. I didn't have Facelift yet, but I remember ordering this off of, probably was Columbia House, and so I had the cassette first. And I remember sitting in the garage playing it, and then Bones hit, and I don't think I was quite ready for Alice in Chains at that time. Was probably my first thought, because I was listening to hair metal stuff, Warrant and Poison and Motley Crue, and then but as I'm sitting in the garage listening to this album, it just grows on you, and you just can't help but like it. And I'm just going to tell you this, at this point in my life, all these years later, this is a desert island album. I'm taking Dirt with me. And so a lot of songs to choose from in Dirt. I'm going to go with Wood, the last track. I also saw this video on MTV, and it was for the Singles soundtrack, I believe, but I love it. From the opening of that bass riff, it's just groovy. Instantly loved it. And I like the power of the chorus once it kicks in. You have Lane and Jerry singing again, which I always like how they complement each other. Lane has more of this raspy voice. It's very unique, and Cantrell, Jerry's got more of that clean, smoother vocal sound. And so yeah, Wood is an all-time classic. It probably is my favorite song. I talked about Man Looks being in top 3. Wood's definitely number 1. It has not moved all these years later. It has not moved with all the great Alice in Chains songs. And so the next song I'm going to go with is track number 4, Down in a Hole. I think it's a beautiful, bleak opening to this song. It's moody and rich. I just think Staley is in peak form. And I mean, just look at the vocals. Bury me softly in this world, or in this tomb. I think it changes later. My wings are bent so that it just, these vocals are awesome. And so Down in a Hole is just fantastic. Great Alice in Chains song. And then for song number 3, my top third song on here, I could have gone with Angry Chair, could have gone with Dirt, Rooster, but I chose to go with Rain When I Die. I just think this is a jamming, proggy song. It has nice builds in the harmonies. I like the riff of this one. I think the boys are singing really well together, and I just have always liked it. And I feel like you can just feel the band's soul in this song. But Dirt, just a classic. If you have not listened to this album or you don't own it, go get it. Download a copy, go buy it. I've had it on cassette, CD, downloaded it on Apple iTunes. It's just top notch. Alice in Chains. And then we're going to go with their third studio release, full-length studio release. I'm going to talk about the EPs here in a second because we get little bonuses. This one I remember just coming out in high school, and so not as good as Dirt. They set the bar so high, but I know I was excited to know Alice in Chains was releasing another record. And so songs I'm going to go with is Over Now. I think it's a good album closer, very on vocals here. It's always been tied to me with Got Me Wrong from one of the EPs, and that might be from the Unplugged version. But yeah, I just think this is more light, poppy. I don't want to call Alice in Chains poppy, but it's easier for, I think, other fans to get into Alice in Chains. I really like it. Lane was really struggling in his addiction on here, and so even though he wrote a lot of the lyrics for these songs, Gary did most of the singing. And he was, if you read up on this, he was trying to like just do his voice inflections to hit some of the pieces that Lane would hit, just because Lane wasn't able to perform. I think heroin was, the drug that he was really struggling with. Yeah, it's I'm gonna go Over Now, like that song. The other song I'm gonna go is track number 8. This is God Am. This is just a slow, sludgy grind to this one. Again, you can just feel the emotion in Lane. I think this is a cool, another moody song from the band. Sean's drumming, when it comes in the chorus, it picks it up a little bit, so I really like those aspects of it. And then for a third song, I really was like struggling between Grind, Heaven Beside You, Again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with Again because I have these like good memories associated to it. My good buddy Jason and I were working, we worked for his dad's boss, and he had this, big property, kind of out in the country a little bit. And so we would just be out there in the backyard using the shredder to grind up all these, fallen, tree limbs that had been on the ground, just kind of clearing everything out, smoothing it out, just some different construction projects. And when those machines weren't going, we had the radio going, and Again would come on all the time. And so it ended up being one of our summer songs. We picked a few summer songs. We had one from Foo Fighters as well. But Again, it's a good, good track. But I also would say, hey, check out Grind and Heaven Beside You too, which you probably have heard if you know Alice in Chains. That began one of their big hits with Jerry on vocals there. And so let's just do a couple extras to close out part 1. We'll do the EPs. And so you have Sap that comes out in 1992, 5 songs on here. Brother's really cool. And then Got Me Wrong. I think Got Me Wrong's the best song on here for this one. Like I said, it's tied to me for Over Now. I think it just has a similar vibe. And the riff writing from Jerry and the rest of the band, I think, is really, really strong. I didn't remember that Lane was a drummer in his band prior to Alice in Chains. So, Lane had his songwriting chops as well. You got Sean Kinney on drums, Mike Starr on bass. Later, I think after Dirt was written, Mike Inez comes over from Ozzy Osbourne. He becomes the bass player for Alice in Chains moving forward. So yeah, Sap's a cool one. Just has those 5 songs here, but my top songs here are going to be Brother and Got Me Wrong. And then this work of art, Jar of Flies. This was like the foreshadowing for me that Alice in Chains was going to do an acoustic record, an unplugged record. I mean, this song is primarily acoustic. You get a couple songs where Jerry Cantrell's using some effects, but the first 4 songs are fantastic. I'm going to tell you that right now. I love Nutshell. And I just think that's a beautiful, beautiful song. And once we talk about Unplugged, Nutshell really shines. That's the opener for the Unplugged concert. And just from the beginning of this drum, I just love it. And I think Jerry's solo throughout on this record is just, it just fits it so perfectly. The other one I'm going to go with is Rotten Apple. It's track 1. I just think these boys just know how to put together music that you just want to pay attention to. And so starts out slow and takes you on this little journey. And then you got, I think, Talkbox enters again, enters with the guitar work that Jerry's doing. And then Here Comes Lane over the top, singing some medleys over it, and then the song kicks in. But yeah, Rotten Apple is excellent. And then No Excuses, track 4 is the other one I'm going to talk about. Opens up with the drums. It's got a groove. This is a song if you want to introduce people to Alice in Chains and they're not into this type of music. No Excuses would be one of the songs to introduce them to. It has more of that radio-friendly vibe, I would say. Kind of like I was just talking about Heaven Beside You. This has a different feel, but I think it can open it up to more fans. But yeah, Jar of Flies is excellent. I listened the heck out of this one in high school, and I had friends that were just hardcore into Alice in Chains, and so just an excellent band. And then this beauty. This is my favorite Unplugged record of all time. And, I think part of it is I believe this is Lane's last performance. You can tell he's not feeling well by his appearance. He does look strung out in the concert. He's got pink hair and he just looks like, he's holding on by a thread, but he comes in and just delivers. Not a lot of energy for how he's moving, but his vocal stylings and just is this, killing it. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this thing. It's just wonderful. Songs I'm going to just shout out here because I like the acoustic version here on Unplugged more than I like them in the studio is Brother. Brother, what ends up being one of my favorites on this one. This shows up in SAP, which I talked about a second ago, but if you're going to check out Brother, do this Unplugged version. The other one's going to be Sludge Factory, which shows up in its self-titled record. But Sludge Factory, I really started liking hearing it unplugged versus listening to it in the studio. And then just on and on. You got Me Wrongs on here, Over Now, Woods in here, Rooster, Down in a Hole. This is just prime Alice in Chains, and I will love them forever because of this record. And because I've been talking about this one's probably going to be on the airways a lot. But yeah, just a wonderful album, front to back, live performance. You feel the emotion, and then when you realize this is Lane's last performance, it just hits you that much harder. And what a shame that we lost Lane to drug addiction, because this band was just masterful, and I have a lot of respect for them. This is going to wrap up my part 1. I'll do a part 2. I'm going to do the William Duvall records maybe next weekend. But yeah, Alice in Chains, my top 3 songs from their records with Lane Staley. All right, y'all, take care of yourselves.